We're back in with our MineColonies Heaven and Hell playthrough, and we've got quite a lot to do, so let's get started. Ava's out here doing our plantation build for us, which she's making some pretty nice progress with. Just on the outskirts, you can maybe see where I've now got this wall placed, and this is where the boundary of our agricultural district is going to come to. I'm really hoping that Ava won't tear it down, because I know that you're good at that, pal. So I'll leave you to it then, Ava, and we will get the plantation up at some point here today. In the meantime, I'm going to head over and just see what Elia is getting up to. And that isn't a great start. He died of being on fire. That is a real shame about our miner there. Oh well, with his death, it is a nice segue into something else that I do want to do here today. But I do want to check up on what Elia is doing first of all, before we do get into the nitty gritty. She is doing our mechanics hut for us at the moment. That's fine. She will probably start requesting some items towards that. Well, to begin with, I do have my own project that I want to get on with, so it starts off with making this wall. And then the second part was to make some of these compasses. However, we're just about to get up our mechanics hut, and I'm wondering if I could get them to make the compasses for us. Because, you know, wanting to be lazy and all of that. So, Elia, what are you requiring to make our mechanics hut then? You are just waiting in a few more oak fences, that's okay. Do you need anything else? Nothing on our open requests here at least. And I've also just realised that she will not get a delivery of those oak fences because our warehouse is still full of bloody carrots, potatoes and cobblestone. So hopefully now with that freed up a little bit, they will continue delivering items to our idiots around the place. Which I can see that Elia is now on the move again, so she'll be going towards the mechanics hut, meaning that her delivery people finally gave her the oak fences that she was after. And looking down the list of all of the items for our mechanics hut, there is nothing here that's going to trip us up. Well, maybe except for this tripwire hook, which is an item that we can then teach to our mechanics hut. I've also just realised that another miner has died from being on fire, and that I just made a horrible pun there as well. So that's two awful things that have just happened. We can get a research within a university at tier 3 or tier 4 that will stop our miners from getting set on fire whenever they come into contact with lava, which will be extremely handy for hell and probably here in heaven as well. So we'll look into getting that research at some point too. Now where did this bloody miner die? Well, here's the grave here, and whoa, it's a good job we did come down. They had some diamonds. They have a lot of diamond stuff here actually. Although I really can't see why they died of being on fire, to be fair. Okay, well, that's just lovely. I'm clearly not going to get any peace here today. Southwest. Alright then. Hello chaps, let's not be killing our people please. Thank you very much. This is a bit bigger of a raid than we're normally used to here, to be fair. Still pretty easy overall, just thanks to all of the training from hell and those nasty buggers down there. But that's the raid now done. And we got some goodies there that Cyrus just stole, so that's even better. While Elia nearly has everything that she requires for this build, she is 69% done with it, and is looking not too bad actually, so soon we'll be able to continue. And that's Elia just finished the mechanics hut right there. That's perfect. I will get to texturing this path at some point, but that's good. We now have up our mechanics hut. Which does mean that I can now come into his building hut and teach it this compass recipe. So that's how you make a compass. Perfect. And I am going to be even lazier here by placing down this post box and then asking for some compasses. Let's get 10 of them to begin with then. So that is now in our open request system for a mechanic to make. And we do have a worker inside it. We have Franco, who I'm going to recall because I want those compasses made ASAP here, Franco. And I'm just going to request some paper coming over to me here as well. Speaking of paper actually, how is Ava getting on with her plantation? She has all of the items for it now, and it's just over 40% complete. And I can see that Joyce has just made a delivery to her mechanic, so Franco is now making up her compasses for us. And I'm assuming that you then made the compasses then, Franco? Are they inside your building hut here? They are indeed, so I'll just cut out the middleman from going to my postbox. But at least I now have my compasses. And even better, I have my paper in. So I can now combine those items just to make some empty maps, which I can now go around our colony, just mapping out how they're starting to look. And that's our very first map now onto our wall. So let's go around the other parts of our colony and just see how we're looking overall here. And I believe that is our civic district now mapped out, so let's go stick it on the wall and see how we're looking. That's already starting to come together nicely here actually. The civic district is quite big whenever I see it like this. Right, let's go map out the agricultural district next, seeing as I just seen that Ava had finished off her plantation build, so I can now go check on it as well. And I think that's all of the agricultural district now mapped out here. And this is our new plantation build, which is really nice actually. And even better, she hasn't ripped down the wall that I placed up, so that's perfect. We definitely have the boundary now, which we should see on the map too. Right Mara, what are we after? You are wanting a pickaxe to continue working, just a golden pickaxe. That's okay, I can go teach that to our blacksmith. But seeing as we do have our plantation now up, can I teach you how to make some paper here? Okay, there's a recipe for paper. Perfect. No longer do I need to worry about paper. And I am hoping that you will grow some sugarcane here, at least until we get some more researchers within our university, just so then you can make some cacti and grow some bamboo here for us as well. But good job Mara, I'll go sort out your pickaxe for you. And here's what our agricultural district looks like, which is probably about the same size as our civic district I would say. I mean so far our whole colony is already looking to be quite sizable, and I've still to map out our industry area. Okay, we'll do that in the morning. And while I'm out here actually, I'm aware that Ava just finished upgrading our crusher's hut to tier 2, so we can have a look at that just in a second. Which now that it is a tier 2 building, I'm hoping that Emery can maybe crush some more cobblestone for us. Because it's now a tier 2 building, she can up that from 16 to 64 pieces of cobblestone that she can crush every day. So that's good. That will once again just help trim down the sheer amount of cobblestones that we do have. And just before we do head back to our map, I'm making a quick pit stop here just to teach the blacksmith how to make this golden pickaxe recipe. So now I'm hoping that will be off our quest system. 7 grey carpets for Ava. That's okay, I can go teach no one how to make that, because we need a dyer up in order to make coloured wool. Well, map first, then let's go check on the research that we're going to require in order to get up our dyer. So this is what our Heaven colony now looks like from a bird's eye perspective, and we definitely have quite a big footprint around the place. I think the 3 main districts that we've been working on are definitely starting to come together here. You can definitely tell where the agricultural district is and roughly its boundary around the place. Our civic district is forever expanding over there as well, just as we place down a lot more builds and decorations. But where we have our mystical pagoda building, I think I'm going to convert that area into a form of graveyard just for Heaven here, which is a build that I'm hoping to make a start on here today, seeing as we have had a few deaths already and Heaven has yet to have its own graveyard placed down. Our industry district is definitely starting to come together nicely as well. We will need to put some walls around it just as a kind of boundary to contain it, but it's certainly starting to take shape pretty nicely I feel. So future plans for our Heaven colony here Our civic district will have an educational part of it, which I am thinking of having around our bathhouse and university there. So that will house our library, school, and any other kind of build that will just go towards our people's education, I think. The middle part of our colony is one place that I've not really touched here, just because I'm still mulling around some ideas of what I would like to go there. I know that I want to move our Nether portal from the little red blob that it is on the map to somewhere within this middle district, just so that it's a bit easier for us to get in and out of hell. I do want to place down my own form of area here as well, so somewhere that I have got my own player house and items just for myself, so that no other idiot can come into. Although it's not just as important for heaven, I would like it to get up some form of combat training area here as well, so that it can have down its own barracks, archery tower, and whatever other builds that will go towards helping our guardsmen out here. And it is tempting to build a bit further north on the map, just towards the ocean, and then we can place down some fishing builds, maybe build a pier, just things like that just around the ocean. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how heaven is starting to shape up here. We've still got a long way to go, but just looking at this, we have certainly expanded out pretty nicely here. So now I just have the very fun task of heading over to hell and just start mapping it out. Well, just before we do, what are we getting up to here, chaps? Ava is currently upgrading a guards tower to tier 3 for us, of which I'm pretty sure all of the items here will come to her, bar the grey carpet that I still need to deal for her, which reminds me I need to go check on her research. And Delia is upgrading her hospital to tier 3, she's just waiting on a flower pot coming in, so I'm pretty sure the both of them can get on with that. Rainbow Heaven is the research that we require to unlock our Dyer's Hut, but this is going to require a university at tier 3, as well as our flower shop at tier 3, which we do now have our flower shop unlocked, so I should head over to our civic district and actually set that building for construction. I am actually excited to see this building being made because I think it looks really nice. So we'll have Alia come out and do that after she's finished her hospital. And this is the mystical pagoda building that we're talking about, so I'm thinking of having some form of pathway just leading down to the back of it, and that's where we can maybe put Heaven's own graveyard. Well, we have nothing in our open requests, and I'm just going to assume that Ava and Alia are going to get on with their builds, so let's get into hell and see if we can map it out. Hello chaps, right, what are we getting up to down here then? We are upgrading a cowboy's hut to tier 3 and a chicken herder hut to tier 3 as well. That's alright, we are clearly down in Hell's agricultural district at the moment. I can assist whenever I'm required in, guys, but until I am needed, I'm just going to construct the wall here just so we can start mapping it out. And you chaps can make yourself helpful just by making me some items, then delivering them to me, whilst I go around and start mapping out. Ooh, maybe nothing? Well, unfortunately, I cannot map out the Nether just as I have with Heaven, because every time that we do, we just get up a map that has this all over it. However, I have just installed a new handy mod, which will let me do this. And this gives me a map of the Nether, which I've got to be honest with you, this would have been rather handy to have in Heaven here as well, because this is very detailed. It's a bit difficult to pinpoint actual locations here, just because we do again have a top view and all of the colours just almost blend into one really, but I'll see if I'm able to kind of walk us through just how our colony here is starting to look. Unlike Heaven, Hell was never meant to be aesthetically pleasing, it was more just an achievement to get buildings and a colony established here than anything else. But this main area here, this is almost like the central plaza as Heaven has. This is where our town hall is and our builders' huts are here as well. We have our restaurant and our hospital and our tavern build somewhere around here. So I suppose you could always say that's like Hell's own civic district there. Just on top here, we could have what could almost become an educational district, as this is where our university is, and we can place down our library and maybe schools and something else around here as well. We do have our agricultural district here as well, which really doesn't look too bad in comparison to our other districts. At least it has some shape to it. And I can pretty much say the same for our industry district here too, although some of it is covered by the roof on top. It is starting to flesh out a little bit down here as well. And eventually we will have Hell's own very special district with its own graveyard district, where we will have all of the dead stored down here. Maybe in time, if we get some researchers within our university, we might be able to resurrect some of the dead. But honestly, I think this is just going to be mass storage than anything else. But unlike Heaven, it is extremely difficult just to find some flat open area here to build proper districts out on. So yeah, I think we will just continue cramming in buildings wherever we can fit them here. So our builders are upgrading the two buildings here, our chicken herder's hut and our cowboy's hut just beside it. We do have a few items here on our open requests that I'll need to deal with, although the cyan stained glass will need to wait until Hell gets up its own glass blower. The clay dark oak shingles here, I think I can go teach that to our sawmill. But while I am down in this district here, I really should come to our plantation build and actually set it for construction. Just so then that way, eventually, we'll be able to get a dyer down here as well, who can then help us start making some of these stained items. So this is a recipe for our cyan clay dark oak shingles, which I am hoping that our sawmill here can learn, which it can. So that is still on the list because we need to teach someone how to make the clay dark oak shingles, which I don't suppose that our sawmill can make this as well. Oh, indeed it can. I can't remember if we have placed down a stone smeltery here in Heaven, but if not, I will need to deal with these bricks at the moment until we do. Of course, I will also need to deal with the dye at the moment, as well as the cyan stained glass here as well. Although I also can't remember if we have placed down our glassblower's hut in Hell here either yet. I reckon if I were to have placed down those builds, they might be somewhere up here. That is our crusher's hut, and this is our stone smeltery, I believe. Yes. And this building just floating over a chasm is our glassblower's hut. Okay, perfect. So they do have the capabilities of making these items themselves once they get those buildings up. Right, I think that's both of our builders now set up with everything they require. Layla can get on with her own damn potatoes there. Let's get out of Hell and head straight back to Heaven. And just the second that I got back here to Heaven, I seen that one of our guards just died, so that is definitely a good indication that we need to get on and build our own graveyard here. And here is a much cleaner version of how our colony looks here in Heaven. I actually prefer this map here to the one that we made earlier on. It definitely makes things look so much better. But we are heading over to this area here, and this is where I think we'll place our graveyard. Our hospital at tier 3 is definitely coming on a treat here actually. This is definitely filling out nicely. And I can see that Ava is coming out the same way as me, so I'm assuming whatever guards tower she's doing is somewhere around here. In fact, that's it right there. So this is a new tier 3 guards tower that we will have built very shortly. But this is where I'm going to spend my afternoon at, just trying to establish this area here, which will require a lot of dirt just to build it up. So let's get started. What I'm picturing is a kind of road that leads us down to the back of our mystical pagoda building. So we will have this concrete here just separating our pagoda building from this kind of entranceway that we'll have here. And we'll have it extend round just to the back end here of our pagoda. So pretty much there, I reckon, is going to be where it ends. And we'll have a wall here. And that means in this kind of space that we're now in, just looking forward, this is where we can have our graveyard. Which here is a Asian style graveyard at tier 5, and I am still not sure which way this is actually supposed to face. But I reckon that it's going to fit rather nicely just in this space here, especially as it's right up against our boundary at the moment. but I don't think it looks too badly placed there. And that is Alia just finished off our hospital as well. Even better. We do have a few different type of graveyard decorations that we can place down here as well. Thank you very much, Ava. So these are some different style graves that we can maybe place down here too. Alongside some maybe fancier type of decorations as well. As a graveyard is really supposed to celebrate the dead, so why not give them some fancy decorations here too? I say that, yet I refer to Hell's Graveyard District as just essentially a mass corpse dump. Well, I'm going to mess about here a little bit, just trying to establish a graveyard here in heaven, so I'll see you guys very shortly when hopefully I've got something a bit more established here. Well, it's been a short while later, and Alia here has made good progress on her flower shop. In fact, here she comes right now, just to continue. Myself, on the other hand, have tried, but not really gotten too far with our graveyard stuff here. For starters, I forgot that our cherry blossoms here actually need to be raised one, so that we can put some slabs underneath them, because otherwise, this happens. And two, because of these trees here, I hadn't realised that whenever they come sprouting into existence, that they basically just take over any blocks that were there. So I have just lost a lot of red concrete, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's still a bit annoying. But this area is now a bit flatter and a bit more prepared for the graveyard to be built in, although we are still very, very close to our boundary here, so I may need to place down another guards tower just to push that out. But I am definitely well out of time for today's episode here. Too much pissing about with maps, I think. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of MineColonies Heaven and Hell. I definitely have a lot more work ahead of me at the moment, so I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now, everyone. Bye bye.